Okay, now that we're finished up with cattle, we're going to start looking at pigs. Now, I have to admit that coming from Eastern North Carolina, there are more pigs than people in my home county. And so, whenever I moved out here and noticed that there were not a whole lot of pigs out here, I was kind of surprised because in the area of the state that I'm from, there's tremendously huge hog farms. And so, that has been a difference for me in looking at agriculture and the way that livestock works. We are the number two hog producing state in the United States, typically behind Iowa. However, you just don't see them in Cleveland County. We just don't have the open land and space for them, and they're typical and the sandy soil as far as drainage and things like that. So, when we're identifying breeds of swine, we're going to look at a couple of different things. We're going to look at their color, but we're also going to look at their ears. So, one thing you're going to notice is that some of them have ears that flop forward, and some of them have what we call erect ears that stand up. And so, hopefully, by the time this is over, you'll be able to look at our little pigs down at the barn and figure out what breed they are if you are cohort A or B. So, the first one that we're going to take a look at, this is an American landrace. This is one that's getting ready to be a mama. She's pretty heavy pregnant, so and you notice that she has lots of teats because pigs have got typically litters of 10 to 14 babies. They're usually pretty large as far as the number of babies they have in their litters, and so they are pretty prolific breeders as far as you get one calf per year, but you may get dozens of pigs in a year. So the American landrace, this is a white breed. I know she looks pink, but we're looking at the skin color underneath the white hair. And so she's a long breed of animal. Um, why an American landrace is said to have originated in Denmark makes no sense to me, but that's just what it is. If you look at her, she's got ears that droop forward, and you can see the notches in her ears, and that's an identification system. And we will talk specifically about that identification later on in this course, just not in this unit. So, she has not had her ears ripped up by some other pig or anything like that. That's an identification system. But she is going to be a white breed with a long body, great carcass quality. So we're getting lots of pork chops out of her, and her ears are going to droop forward. We are going to see another white breed a little further down the line that looks very, very similar, but it's going to have ears that are erect. So they'll stick up and they will not droop down over her eyes. The next one we're going to take a look at is the Duroc. And the Duroc is typically kind of this reddish breed of animal. I will say that the pigs down at the barn do have some Duroc genetics in them, but it's not a tremendous amount. If you actually look at some of them, they do have some kind of brownish red spots on them. There's one down there that's got my son calls him brown butt because he has a brown spot on his ham, which is his butt muscles, and he's got spots around his eyes. So you can see a little bit of the Duroc in him, but not a tremendous amount of Duroc, but some in the animals that we have down at the barn. But these are going to be red animals. They're going to have droopy ears. You can see how this one just flops down over his eyes. Again, you can see those identification marks in his ears, those ear notches. And these animals are going to have really good growth rate. That's one of the reasons why they've been bred into the pigs that we have at the barn, because they grow quickly. The sooner you can get them to marketable size, the sooner you can get them to the market, the sooner you can turn around and start a whole new house as far as farrowing new pigs or having new pigs born. So great feed conversion. They're good at being able to take what they eat and turn it into muscle. So that's the second pig breed. So this one is kind of your Oreo breed of pig. He's got a black back end and a black front end, and he's got a white band around those front legs. But if you notice, the ears are sticking up. These are erect ears. And so this breed is called the Hampshire. And the Hampshire is actually one of what I call the Shires. Any of these breeds that have got Shire at the end of their name, Shire, if they have Shire at the end of their name, they're going to have erect ears. So that's one way that you can help to be able to identify one pig from another is to look at their ears. You can see that it's also got good muscling and that carcass leanness. Now, the Shire situation with the sticking up ears is important whenever we look at this next pig, because she looks a whole lot like the American Landrace. So if I go back here to the American Landrace, white breed, floppy ears, and then I go back over here to the Yorkshire, white breed, erect ears. So that's how you're going to tell the difference between those two. You will have a quiz on swine breeds, and you're going to be able to tell the difference between the two, because if it has Shire, it has erect ears. This is a really popular breed of pigs. And much like the American Landrace, they're very similar, except that whole ear thing. Great mothering ability, great carcass quality. A long carcass is going to produce a lot of meat on that animal, and great feed efficiency. So, the Yorkshire, very, very popular breed. The last breed that you are going to have to learn as far as swine breeds, and this is the Berkshire. Notice again, it's one of those Shire effects thing that's there. So you've got the ears that are sticking up. This Berkshire pig is going to be black, and it's going to have white feet. There is a similar breed called the Poland China, and the Poland China looks exactly like this, except their ears droop forward. And you don't have to know the Poland China this year. We've taken that one out. But the Berkshire is a popular breed for the food world right now. So when we talked about beef, we talked about Angus being a trend in the food world right now. Well, bacon is a huge trend in the food world right now. In particular, Berkshire pork is a trend in the food world right now. And so it's kind of like people think that they can add to the price of a cut of meat if they tell you what kind of animal it came from. So, Angus beef, you're looking at more expensive. Berkshire pork, kind of the same thing right now. So you're looking at more expensive because it is a Berkshire animal, and you can see that it's excellent in carcass quality. So hopefully at some point, I've already told you that there's some Duroc involved, but hopefully at some point, if you're in cohort A or B, you'll be able to go down and figure out what the rest of the animals have. Is they are crossbred. They're not purebred anything, but you can hopefully be able to look at them and pick out what other breed types they have in them. So that's it for pigs. Next time we'll be talking about poultry, and we'll be looking at chickens and turkeys.